So in this class, we'll be basically talking about join clauses because we want to have more than one table, okay, to be able to actually use joins. So we'll have to create a new database to manage that. So we have our new database here. So what we need to do now is to insert the tables of choice. So we have two tables to be imported. For expand our database joins analysis and head on to our tables, you are going to see the table we've inserted. All right, let's go on. So we have our two tables, our customer table and as well as our orders table. So the first query we'll be writing is for inner joins. So what does inner joins do? Inner joins retrieves rows from both tables that satisfy the join conditions. So let's write this query now. So we want to select orders as order ID. All right, then we say comma, and we want to say customers dot customer name from our orders table. So if you take a look at this, you will realize that even when we say from our orders table and so on, everything still looks underlined as if it were wrong. What happens is that when you have multiple databases, you have to ensure that you are connected to the database of choice, okay? So here you see available databases. So we have the bootcamp aggregation and the joins analysis that we created earlier. The bootcamp aggregation was selected because that's what we worked on earlier. So to ensure that you are connected to the right database, you click the drop down here and pick the database of choice. When you do so, everything is going to be all right. You see, from our table now is correct because we have a table such as orders table in the joins analysis database. Okay, so let us go on. So now we want to do the inner joins. Okay, so we'll say enter inner joins, and we want to join customer on orders.customer ID equals to customers.customer ID. Then we close. Now we are joining these from the customer table. Okay, so let's correct this query, customers table. And so this is customers table on the orders table and then the customers table. All right, so we have corrected our query. So let us execute this now. So our result shows the order ID and the customer name, basically retrieving data from both tables. Okay, like we say, the inner joins retrieve rows from both tables that satisfy the joins condition. So this is the join condition, okay, where the customer ID in our orders table equals to the customer ID in the customer table, where the customer ID in the orders table equal to the customer ID in the customers table. Okay, so let us write another query for the left join. So write a comment and say left join. All right, so the left join retrieve all rows from the left table and the matching rows from the right table. If there's no match, null values are returned for the columns from the right table. So let us write this query now. So we say select the customer's name from the customer table. So we are going to write it this way: the table first, then the customer name. Then we want to select the order ID from the orders table. So we'll write it this way: the table name dot the column of reference. Then we want to say from the customer table, and we'll say left join orders table on customers table and customer ID in that table equals orders table and the customer ID from that table. We close our query. So the customers table dot customer name, the orders table dot orders ID, select the customer's name from the customer's table, okay, and the order ID from the order table, okay. Now the left join joins the customer and order table and include all rows from customers, even if there are no matching rows in orders. Okay, so let us execute this and we have it. So now we have the matching rows and we have those without, and that's why we have null here as we've described earlier. So let's look at the right join. The right join retrieves all rows from the right table and the matching rows from the left table. If there is no match, no values are returned for the column from the left table. So let's write this statement and call it now right join. Okay, let's write the code. So we want to select from the orders table the order ID, then comma, the customers table, then the customer ID from that table, from the orders table. Then we want to implement the right join, and from the right join on the customer table on the orders table dot the customer ID equal to customers table and the column customer ID. So you realize that whenever we're writing, put on the table name, for instance, let me rewrite this customer table with customer ID. So that you'll see that it gives us a suggestion for the table. I will say that it gives us the columns from that table. So here we are looking at customer ID. Okay, so let's select and execute our right join. So we have our right join here where we have the order ID and the customer ID. But what if we want to rewrite this to replace the customer name? Let's just use customer name instead. Okay, the customer name. Let's execute this and we have the customer name. Last but not the least on joins, let us look at full outer joins. The full outer joins retrieves all rows from both tables and combines them. If there is no match, null values are returned for the columns from the opposite table. So let us write the query. So we'll say select, and now we want to select from the customer that is in the customers table. Our column of interest will be the customer name. So we'll say customer table dot our column of interest is the customer name. Okay. And on the orders table, our column of interest is the order ID. Okay. And from the customer table, okay, so we want to implement our full outer join. So from our orders table on customers table and the customer ID matches the customer ID on the orders table. All right, we close our query and we execute. So we have it now. Okay, so on the full outer join, we basically match the left and the right. So we see where the order ID is present, we don't have the customer name, no match, that's why I say no. Where the customer name is present, no customer ID is found, and that's why we present the null. Okay.